Welcome to Diva's Talk as Sisters podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, like I always say, welcome and go out and check some of the other seasons out. Each one of them have 12 episodes. If this is the 12, 13, 14, or whatever time it is, or you're a continuous listener, welcome, welcome, welcome. As promised, I said this season was season 4 that I was going to have a lot of males speaking on things that they're faced against and challenges that they have going on in their lives that their voices don't get to be heard. It's always women speaking on things. So today I have another male speaker here, Stanley Williams, who is going to be joining us speaking on You and Me, We Got This. Welcome, Stanley. Come on in and introduce yourself.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm
I
good.
am Stanley Williams.
Hey.
Hey,
Your volume is
let me
kind of
see.
low. I could barely hear you. You might have
Can
to
you hear
turn
me
it up
now?
some.
Is that better?
Yeah, much better.
Let me see.
Much better.
All right. So yeah, I'm Stanley Williams. I live in North Carolina. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to participate in your podcast.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So, what did you think when I said that topic to you? You and me, we got this. How did you come up with it? I know
Uh,
I'll be shooting these crazy topics.
it was, well, it caught me off guard. I was kind of like, how am I going to put that together in what context? But I after thinking through it, I didn't know if it was coming from a romantic couples thing or just being in general of just being people of color and men and women people of color. So those are the two things that stood out more so. So, but yeah, you caught me off guard with that. I was like, what? So, but
Well, go ahead and speak on that topic, and I'll ask questions later since I want to see where you came at with it.
right. So me and you, we got this. I mean, for the most part, what I think about is having that partner. It doesn't have to be a romantic partner. I mean, typically it could be male, female. For the most part, I'm thinking male, female perspective. When it comes to relationships, having that person who unequivocally 100% has your back. Like for example, if y'all got into a little scrap with somebody, when I turn around, we back to back, just taking on the world, fighting them off. We always have each other's back.
Right.
So um, when a person is weak or down, don't worry about it. I got you. Or like for example, when I was younger in relationships, um, a couple of the women that I did date or what have you, it's like not having to worry about, hey, I got you. Don't worry about the bill. Take care of it. You got all this stress. I was going through a time when I first got out of college where things weren't going right professionally, trying to find a job. And my girlfriend at the time, the young lady I was dating, she got me. I mean, it was like I could sleep easy. I wasn't stressing. It was like, yo, you need a meal, or and I had other friends that I went to in college with that weren't romantically involved, but it was like, I got food, come on over. One of my friends was like, hey, I got all these food stamps over here. We gonna eat.
Hey, they
Over.
spin
So,
too.
right. Don't worry about it. We got you. I'm like, and I will say, because of my background, I always had this, not insecurity, but I've always been taught men are supposed to handle their business, not supposed to talk about what's going wrong. They just supposed to just deal with it and be in survival mode. And it was hard for me to not trust somebody, but let somebody else take care of it, because
Right, right.
I've also come up with I saw it in a movie years ago. Is it called NTA? Never trust anyone. And it takes a while to break that down, at least for me. Like, do I trust you? Do I think you have my best interest? Maybe I may not understand it. Can you be that voice of reason where I'm going off the deep end and you trying to reel me in? It's one of those. Like, but I got you. So it takes a lot to get to know someone, and then also as a man, and just in general, I'm speaking for male. It takes a lot for me to let you in to that point. It's
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, I agree.
we're
Yeah.
there, but do I trust you? Do I trust? Am I going to give you the security codes once we make it and whatever? I'm going to give you the security codes. Do I trust you with my car? What? It's a trust thing.
It's
So
like you got to see them
yeah,
drive first, make sure they can drive good. Yeah.
exactly.
I get it. I get it. Um, what I did with the topic, how I just freestyled it, I was more,
Mhm.
that's a perfect example though, relationships. But I was trying to tune out a little bit about relationships because we focus a lot on relationships, and
Yeah.
me being that person that really don't have one like you're supposed to be talking about. But anyway,
Not
uh,
yet. Not yet.
right,
Not yet.
like, yeah, it's in making. But I say that
Right.
to say, you and me, we got this. It could also be your friends, like best friends. Sometimes, let me tell you guys how I met Stanley. So we were at a cigar bar with my best friend and her boyfriend, and I didn't smoke cigars, but that was my first experience. But anyway, um, I came up with the name. Him and I started talking, and I just came up with the name Stan, the man with the big hands, because he has some big hands. So I was like, okay, okay. So I think yes, big hands, big hands. So I think I told you a little bit about the podcast. I was starting to talk to you about that and stuff, kind of letting them know.
Yeah.
But this was before I had the vision of even getting men in. Just listening to a lot of people that I've been speaking to lately and their stories and stuff. I was like, I want this to be Divas Talk as Sisters and sometimes Bros this season. Because, like I said, a lot of women, we always go through, what a man did to us and how they hurt us and how, but we don't hear the struggles and things that you guys have faced against and your challenges as a man, because like you say, a lot of men feel that macho role and they don't want to talk about it, or they don't want anybody to know that they're doing that. But hey, it's a voice and it needs to be heard because somebody else needs to know it's okay to speak about it, and talk about the
Yeah.
stories.
The part of being vulnerable. I believe it or not, Katrina, I can be very sensitive, right? But
Mhm.
um, as I've matured from whenever, it's just like, am I really being realistically? Am I just overly sensitive? But I will say a lot of things that men can come up with. A little bit about my background. I lost my parents when I was young, so it was like always like, hey, that foundation's there, and then they were gone. And then I really was like, I don't trust anyone. But I realized, I guess, over the last couple of years, because I was so young and lost so much and it was very traumatic, it was just like I've been in survival mode.
Right, right.
So I mean, I ride motorcycles. So one of the things that kind of my instructor got my mind years ago was like, you have to ride like no one sees you at all times. So you're very defensive.
Mhm.
So part of that defense mechanism as a man, it's like, well, and then growing up, I grew up in New York City area. So the one thing about New Yorkers is like, we don't want you in our personal space, like arm's length personal space. So for me to let you get in there is
Yeah,
like, what's your ulterior motive? So I will say some of the traumas I've had, um, friends who, you really have the same people who are with you or not really with you.
right,
You know,
right.
I I've had that realization with one of my best friends. I don't. When we met in was it January? He was there, and that was my ace boon coon.
Mhm.
But realizing, you know, how I perceived or valued. It's just like not being valued, not having stuff reciprocated, and you make excuses like it's not that bad. But people evolve differently. So I started taking a step back. And as a man, you have to prioritize your boundaries. Um, Going from you asked what's the question, what's out there, what's going on. So um my experience is very real. Losing my parents, going to college in Virginia, didn't really know any people. I knew people from my hometown, but New York City is very large, so it's kind of like you see people, you might run into them, but on campus, you kind of a whole different microcosm. At a HBCU, so whereas you're always lifted up and empowered, but while all of that, and you hear about a HBCU buzz, you still have your own pulling you down like crabs in a barrel. So
Right.
you have to navigate the social circles. We were in Virginia. Um, the racism, like in New York, to experience it is, or in the Northeast, it's there. It's in pockets, but I would say it's more covert in some aspects. But there's certain areas, don't be over here at night, don't do this. But it was different. When I got to the South, it was there. I mean, I know you're in the South. You're in the deep South, actually.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
in the Mid Atlantic region and in the beginning parts of South, it is strictly party lines, white and black.
All
So
day.
coming
All
from that,
day.
coming from that experience under Mason Dixon line, um, my second year of college and even my first year, just coming up with that, hearing, well, you did this, well, you did that, and then the next year we had a riot at Virginia Beach
Mm.
on the beach. They didn't want us there, so you have on the exterior, you always getting beat down by the man, so to speak, and as a man, it's real because professionally, I feel like black women are promoted further or first before black men. We're always the last. Some people say it's different, but you have that and not knowing yourself. Well, not that you not knowing. You have when you say you and me to tie it back to the topic, that's when you have your brothers or a band of brothers. I played football in college, so a lot of my confidants play football with me, and that's how I got out of high school and into college. That's how I expressed myself. I was like, where else can I go somewhere and basically knock somebody out and not
Yeah.
get
Release
arrested?
that. Release it out on the field. Yeah. Just knock them out and just take it out on.
Right.
Yeah.
So
My
it
son
was
plays
one of
football.
those.
It's kinda, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like you have the external stuff of not just the family dynamics, but you've got I found the external forces of racism, all of that. Then it's always proving yourself. Then you're in school and you're having to prove yourself amongst your own. You got people from all over the country, different cities, Detroit, Richmond. On campus, it was a struggle. It was like New Yorkers didn't deal with people from New Jersey or Connecticut while we're right there. But when we were on that campus, it was DC versus Richmond and DC versus New York. Everybody hated the New York people
Mm.
because they feel like New Yorkers are. So you always proving yourself. Internally, you're proving yourself. Socially, you're proving yourself. Um, Organizations, but it makes you stronger. And then when it comes to relationships, relating to men and women, I remember my first week in school. I had a professor who he went off on all of the Northerners in the class. Somebody must have responded a certain way. All y'all talk about here. We like, dude, we never said anything. We came here to get education.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of stuff that I mean we all put up with, but as a man, it's like, hey, you already not trying to be marginalized.
Right.
You sitting in school, you don't have any money, but you want to do the things. And the thing that we had was in Norfolk, Virginia, Norfolk Naval Base is there. So then it's competition between the sailors and the servicemen coming to campus. We don't have money; they got money,
Right.
and my football coach used to tell us in meetings that y'all trying to find. I'm gonna use your name, Katrina, Tanya, Tracy, all of that. He said, find you one who is back to the topic, who's gonna hold you down, help you do your work, study, whatever, whatever. Find you one. Stop trying to be street meat, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, you know, so you find that one. And when I was in school, I mean, I won't say I didn't know my worth, but yes, I can say being sensitive and being handsome. At times I would date people for the wrong reason,
Right.
and it found out they really weren't all about me, so they didn't have me. So it was
Representative.
all
Yeah.
yeah,
Spoke about that
all
last episode. Them damn representative.
right, right. So always that football wise, and then also trying to be like, oh, I'm still here for education. Then when you get out of school, you're insulated at a HBCU. You get out into the real world, or I won't say you don't get into the real world, but you get into, say, the corporate arena. and you get judged again.
Yeah.
You already thought of less, but you're judged by. So you put up with those stressors, the racism, the hidden racism, being marginalized. I've experienced being in a leadership role. I've had an employee be insubordinate to me and tell me, um, I don't report to you any, and as long as this person is fine with it, that's where I take my orders from. And they hung up on me.
Whoa.
Now, mind you, any other situation, and when you see the differences, I've had people of color that if they did that, they would be out the door. So when this happened to me, the person went back and played they tried to play the victim, but they were like, well, I was a little rough with them. My manager, who's buddies with this person, didn't handle it the way I would have handled it, but I realized a dynamic. I went to see him one day. His door was ajar. I walk up and I hear him buddy joking with the person. So you have that the racism part, the race relations in the United States. When you're a black man, you walk in the door. Yeah, that's a big part. And then what that does is it can in somewhat affect a man with his relationship with his partner, even not even his sisters, everything, because it's just like you feel judged everywhere.
Right.
So that is a thing. So having someone to have your back, be it my sister, my oldest sister, she's the one that when I would go home to New York from Virginia, be like, I'm home, but I'm not home. Just so she knew. She
Right.
always got me. I wrecked my car one year. I said, look, she presented it well. I ain't get my hind parts tore up, but you know what I mean? It's just like you gotta have that person like, look, I got you. Handle your business. You know what I mean? Or even if you're doing your dirt or doing something wrong, I got you, or that moral code, or like, hey, you a knucklehead. I mean, in school, so I'll say this, I was going to lead to this. I had a lot of people feel like, yeah, I was just dating everybody. But the way our school was set up was I would meet somebody that I say, hey, I met him. We tried to date, didn't work out, but we cool.
Right.
Walk on one end of camp, middle of campus, we sit there and that's social hour in midday. So you see the girls you trying to holler and book. You see the ones you might have kicked it with. And then I had some classmates. So I walked down one end, basically chasing somebody. I got a class. Nah, you going this way because you're not gonna bother me for the notes. You're not gonna harass me when we got to turn in this stuff. And then I might see somebody that I was trying to, and like people like, yo, I always thought I liked you, but I saw you with all these girls. I said, nah, those is my people. And to this day, some of those friendships that are bonded, I can call on them. Like they'll answer, hey, yo, what's up? I'm coming to Vegas. We hanging out. I got you. Don't worry about it. So, I mean, it's all about relationships.
Well, I
But
have a question, not to interject, but um, with men have, like you said, you had, friends and homegirls that you can still call on and talk to or whatever. Why is it that when women have that male
mhm.
companion friendship, I mean, it don't even have to be anybody that they ever dated, anybody they ever been intimately involved with, anything, no kind of emotional connection or affection. But the guys that you tend to date or to get into a
Mhm.
relationship, they tend to have a problem with it when women do it. Like
Well, some men it's a double standard because it's like they have insecurities.
that's
Men
what
have
I'm glad to
insecurities.
say because that's what I was gonna say. Is it because they're insecure and jealous that they feel that way? Because it's just a lot of different situations that I've noticed during my dating process since being single and dating. And not back then when I was younger, I would tolerate a lot and deal with a lot and be like, oh yeah, okay, he'll get better. I understand, because jealousy can be cute little bit because he really digging me, he liking me. So it's okay sometimes. But then when you started seeing repeated patterns and it become more of a problem in your relationship because I mean I'm a social girl, I'm a butterfly, I don't have an enemy that I know of in this world. If I do, I don't know about them. So
Right.
I have a lot of platforms that I do, and some people, I mean, I have followers, people I've never met in my life, but they're my support. They enjoy, seeing me watching videos and stuff. But sometimes the guys that you get involved with, now they could have seen you on there. They met you on there, so they know what you're working with and everything. But they'll tend to come back and now try to put stipulations or regulations on how you should do it. But it wasn't a problem then. So I'm trying to understand, why is it a problem now? And it makes sense, the insecurities, but how can you condemn somebody for your insecurities or your jealous, whatever it may be, when that's not their motive? You know what the
Right.
motive is.
Well,
How do you deal with
it's how do you deal with that?
it? Yeah.
So I would say how I dealt with it. All right. Parents, before my dad passed away, my example is I've always been around strong women
Mhm.
that kind of, you're not going to tell me, they're not disrespectful, but it's like, you're not going to control me. It's like Kelly Price has that song, "You're not my daddy, you're my man."
Yeah. Yeah.
And you look at that from the perspective of, like, I just think of it now. Have I been that guy who is jealous? I mean, there's some times where I feel like, hey, you doing too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you are in that situation, you should have enough. You should have some stuff to do. You shouldn't lose yourself in that. What it is, oh, I see the girl, and I will say, yes, you are very pretty. I met you. You're very pretty. And dudes are like, yo, I like that. I want that for me, but they don't want to put in the work, or they try to put in the work. Well, as you said, they misrepresent.
Right.
Well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but for whatever reason, they want you at home doing that, but they can run the street. And if you do it, they can't handle it. You
Right.
can't control that. And so for me, I professionally, my career didn't take off right away. Woman that I dated at the time in grad school, got a doctorate. She was making money.
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't my season yet, but she tried to, in one way, somewhat emasculate me a little bit. I didn't get jealous, but it was just like, yo, you gotta. We just didn't stay together after a while. We've been together for a while, but it's one of those things where it's a control thing. It's like, yeah, I hear what you say, but they don't respect what you do. Like,
Right.
you already established, you got your brands, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing things. It's like, okay, I don't have. And another thing is, it's a competition thing, I would say,
Yeah.
because a man
I
is
can
going
see.
to compete. Yeah. So
But
it's
I
like,
mean,
if you have.
yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, like, when I do it, like, if I'm in a relationship, I'm doing it to benefit us, because right now, a lot of social media, I mean, people, that's the way they living. They quit their jobs for this stuff. And I've been doing it for so long. It's my baby. Between writing, between doing podcasts, between doing videos and stuff. These are my babies. Like, I can't, besides my kids and stuff, they grown, but for somebody to try to step in and take your baby, that's just like being kidnapping your child, and
Mhm.
expect for how many years you have invested in this to just change around their circle. So that's the problem that I have a lot of times with just the dating scene right now.
Mhm.
So some people probably say, "Oh well," I've always been in long term relationships, but some people might say, "Oh well, she don't have anybody. I wonder what's wrong with her." Like
Well,
I was saying earlier, when I was younger, I tolerated a lot, but now that I'm older and I see game and I see things, I don't tolerate a lot of things that I used to tolerate, and I'll just say in a heartbeat, "Look, I'm out. Bye."
right. Well, part of it is I would say, if someone say, "Hey, I know she," like, they'll minimize it. Like, me and my boys, we'll joke about, like, with women, like, there you go, minimizing what I'm doing. But what you do is important to you, right? And because they're naive, not naive or ignorant to it. Some people may take it as, oh, that's the little podcast thing. She don't do that. She just doing that because she ain't got time. But I want everything to be about me. And I can share an experience with this. So I'm in a fraternity. I'm in a fraternity. And when I met my wife, and anybody I date, the fraternity, I've been in this organization since I was in my 20s. So 30 years at least. And I would tell everybody, I'm very active in my fraternity. Just because I'm a fraternity doesn't mean that I'm not going to participate on a graduate level. That's not something that I did in school and I'm putting it down. I was like, in the beginning, if it's someone I'm serious about or I'm trying to get, I'm like, look, I'm in this. Matter of fact, I don't even lead with that I'm in the organization.
Mhm.
But once if they're around me, they'll say, "Oh, you're in this organization." I'm like, let's keep it a bean and treat it like this. If I had a child, that child is my priority. If you cannot deal with me having a child or someone that I have to take care of or I have to deal with their mom or whatever,
Mhm.
then you might want to think about that. Maybe we're not the right people or we're not compatible. Just like my fraternity. I mean, I have buddies who their significant others, spouses, girlfriends, whatever, were either weren't in a sorority, didn't understand it, wasn't even a factor did they go to college, but it was just like, I'm a realist. I'm like, hey, this is an important part of my life.
Yeah.
And I tell you at the beginning, hey, I'm very active. I travel. I'm very active. I follow my university sports. So it's kind of when having that conversation, that crucial conversation in the beginning. So I think I I don't know. I don't know why they get like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I
And then,
know I'm
yeah. And then, sorry to interrupt, but then, you still put them as the number one priority. You know what I'm saying?
not.
And so now I'm learning to put me first and then them. You know what I mean? Because before I've always done everything they wanted, so now it's about me. So, and I'm not saying it as being selfish, but I am saying to say it's not like I don't put them first. I still do, what's required into a relationship and communicating and whatever it may be when that time happened again. But I do. And I still make time for my babies, so I
Right.
do it both. But sometimes, like you said, people just can't take, I guess, you putting time over here and just want all the time for themselves, you know.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. Basically, that person, not to cut you off, to me, it sounds like just doesn't have enough going on in their life to do stuff. Because, I mean, they could read books, do whatever, but they want you to be where they at. They mean, like I'm saying, they're not doing enough. I mean,
Right. Right.
travel. You could be in the fitness stuff. You could be in the
Yeah.
music. You go to jazz. I mean, and sometimes it's not, they haven't been exposed to it. Maybe if they're accommodating to be exposed to it, but I mean, I don't know. And then, the other thought I had is if you say people get jealous or things like that, because a guy knows how a guy is for the most part, just like women know how women are. Like in my fraternity, I have fraternity brothers who years ago, I may have dated somebody and we were younger. I'm like, but then they find out my boys would be like, hey, you need to go holler at Stan about that. And they like, but why? And they like, dude, I mean, there's nothing going on. I mean, but there's history there. We
Yeah.
just want you to know. So it don't be like, you know, but some people, I don't know. Guys know guys. I mean,
Yeah.
women know women.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's insecurities. Like I don't, and that's a big issue. Sometimes you just like, yo, let me just leave that dead. Let me leave that alone
Yeah.
because that'll create problems. 'Cause it's like, well, you dated my woman. I'm
Right.
like, you wasn't around. He's grown, whatever, whatever. Now, if you still kicking it with both, it's like, oh, okay, that's a different conversation.
Mhm.
But it's just like dudes are insecure. Because you feel like I want something that's mine, but you got to realize if you've been exposed and you've grown. If I dated people when I was younger, I'm pretty sure you dated somebody. So I mean, but I'm the primary or I'm the focus now, or it's about me or it's about each other. We're
Mhm.
pouring in each other to build something.
Yeah.
Some people, men are
That's what.
selfish. Men can be selfish,
Yeah, very. And
and
that's
women,
where kind of the title, You and Me, We Got This. So anything
right,
that's inside of the circle when we're dating or in a relationship, however you want to do it. Because I mean, when I was growing up, dating mean you're in a relationship. Now with this generation, dating is just you going out on dates, but you doing things like you're dating in a relationship, like basically friends with benefits. No, not on my watch. But anyway, you and me, we got this. That means anything inside of our circle together, not anything outside of the circle. It's you and me, regardless of
right,
what you came with. Um, what we bring it into together, it's like a collaboration, like I said
Mhm.
on my last episode, a unity. So I feel like nobody should come in trying to break barriers down and say, I mean, there is change when you get into a relationship because there are some things you're still learning about each other. So yes, there are
Right.
going to be some things that I'll minimize, for you if you're uncomfortable in that matter. Yes, because that's what I would do to make the relationship work. But there's also things that you have to compromise with as well and bring it down. That's whether you and me got this together
Right.
in order for us to build together. So
I
yeah.
mean, it's a good metaphor for if you're a business partner, you're trying to build a business, entrepreneurship, you trying to get to the next level.
Mhm.
There's a saying, I can't be rich if my friends are not rich. I mean, even my
Okay.
boys.
Yeah.
So my boys, it's like, yeah, I would love to. We steak, we all eating steak, but everybody's math ain't math, and people doing this. So, like for example, I have a group of friends that I love them. I'm probably wouldn't have chose them now, but it's like, look, let's do this. Let's do some other stuff. They know what they know. They want to do the same old something. Hey, I'm trying to build something. I'm trying to take it to the next level. I'm tired of bringing you the water and you not drinking, so I got to slide on.
Right.
So it's like
Hmm.
the circle gets smaller.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, we trying to build this, and you got to have that vision, and you also have to be able to be like, look, you have to discern, have more of a discerning eye to be like, yo, me and her got this in this relationship. No one can get in between that. If I have a problem, we will talk it out. We'll get to the bottom of it, and then go from there.
Right.
But you never let like, yo, did you hear such and such, or you know, what's the name said he saw you like you see it on TV portrayed or in the movies. Um, Such and such saw you over on Canal Street the other day over by Marriott. We went. It's like you keep it 100 with each other.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Have that trust. You establish that.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely one for
so
that. I hate liars, and I'm not gonna lie, sugarcoat nothing. I'm honestly, my problem is I'm too openly honest and I talk too much,
uh,
so I'm practicing on humbling my tongue for some things.
does that turn people off when you're brutally honest?
I mean, yeah, that's what they say, but I mean, it's sometimes I don't realize that I could be hurting somebody, with saying the truth. Because my mom always tell me, you don't have to tell everything. Like I get into details. Oh, I went in the store and he had this guy standing on the side and he looking at me. He asked me for my phone number, just stuff like that. Sometimes that could be too much for a person, and it's feeding into their spirit. So they're coming with these. Um, I'm not going to say non-trusting factors because I'm telling them what's going on, but sometimes they feel like they're going to always be in competition. But you have to be
Well,
ready to be with somebody that is a well-known person, just like you said with your fraternity and everything. I'm sure your wife knows that, you probably known worldwide, you know what I'm saying? With these people, y'all come together and everything like that. Well, I'm worldwide. Social media
mhm,
is worldwide. So I may not know somebody, but they may see me and say, hey, I'm one of your followers. How you doing? Hey,
right,
how you doing? I'm not going to be rude or disrespectful and say, oh, well, who the hell are you? I'm just not that type of person, so
right.
yeah, it's just what
Well,
you
I mean, it's a it has to be a balance, and like let me see. I remember wife went to Atlanta with her girlfriends years ago, and girls was hollering. They was like, joking. We were joking about. I'm like, but then a man will look like a man who understands who he is will look at it from the perspective. Well, why wouldn't other men
right.
try to speak to
Right. I
you
don't
know
want nobody. Nobody ain't gonna look at, or nobody ain't gonna say. You know what I'm
whatever
saying?
nobody else doing? Right.
Right.
So
Right.
it's yeah, right. And I'm a toot my horn because I could be vain. I was like, I ain't bad on the eyes. I'm good. So I know who I am.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I love me some me, and it's like people will say, "Oh, it's like I've had friends. Yeah, there's certain energy you have." I'm like, and I'm confident with it.
That's
But
right.
you know what I
That's right.
mean?
That's where I'm at
It's,
now. That's
it's
kind of like where I'm at now with myself,
yeah,
So that's why I had to ask you that question. But I don't want to hold you long because we'll be on here all day talking about a million
yeah.
questions that I have. Um, but yeah, I'm just saying. But thank you for tuning in, and I would love to have you come back at another time and talk about another topic. But it was a pleasure to have you. Um,
And
Anything you
and I
have for
would like to
me?
say, well, I will say thank you for including me or asking me, and kind of get me to the point because I was uncomfortable when you first said it, but when you told me in January, we're now in August,
August,
and
yeah,
I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? It's just like, okay, I'm doing it because you said it. I'm like, yeah, I want to do. I do these. I don't know a topic, but I would love for this. I'm like, you had a vision.
yeah,
I wasn't on the. I was like, I don't know what the vision is, but here we are.
yeah,
So
yeah. I came
it's
up with
this is
all 12.
developed.
Huh?
Yeah, this is developed organically. So
Thank you. Yeah,
you know,
thank you, thank you. Well, again, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we will talk
good.
soon.
All right.
Bye.